Hi. Hi everyone. Welcome again to my live show. Uh, Today we're gonna talk about how to choose wire, the right gauge of wire or sheet for making bracelets or any projects that you have. My name is Charisma Summers and from Popnicute Jewelry, and I'm here doing live broadcast every day to fulfill my goal of getting 47 hours of watch time a day so YouTube doesn't downgrade my account. So there you have it, me sharing all of my knowledge on camera every day. You get something from me and I get my channel to stay as is. So I've got questions. Hi Lena, welcome again. Nice to see some familiar faces. So today we're gonna talk a little bit about how to choose the right gauge of wire and sheet, and does copper work the same with sterling, and then I will share some tips. If you have any questions, just ask in the live chat, and I will try to answer it. And for any products that I mentioned in the broadcast, you can find the link in the description later. Well, it's up now, I think. Okay, let's start. I'm gonna put my phone somewhere first. Okay, as you already know, that copper or any metal come in different gauge of wire. Different gauge. Well, gauge is like the size of the wire. Come in different sizes. That's all. That's what I was gonna say. Sorry, a little bit. Before I start, I want to say that the gauge that I mentioned, that I'm using the American Wire Gauge or AWG. So if you are using a different wire gauge standard, you can probably find a converter online to make sure that you know what I'm talking about. But just gonna say that I am using the American Wire Gauge. So if you watch my last night's video, I have this little sheet here, conversion from gauge to millimeters, and I like to use the millimeters because just talking inches in decimal just doesn't make any sense. Like, who knows how big is 0.025 inches is? I don't like that. I know in here it was like it's like 22 gauge, which is like 0.6 millimeter. But you know, that's just how non-sickle inches is for determining size in wire. If you're unfamiliar with wire, the bigger the number, this is the gauge. The bigger the number, the thinner the wire is. So 24 gauge would be like this big, while 12 gauge would be this big. I don't know why it's set that way, but that's what it is. Lena asked, what gauge would you use for a cuff that you're going to solder a bezel to? That depends. That depends on the size of the stone and the size of your cuff. Like, is it gonna be a thin cuff, like this one? Or is it gonna be a wide cuff, like this one? Because that matters, like the size, because as you know, like the last mass it has, it bends easier. So even though it's the same, so this one I use 20 gauge for the base. For this one is I use 20 gauge for the base, and then I added a half beaded wire and some corrugated bezel wire. So all in all, I think it almost reached probably 16 gauge overall, and 16 gauge would be this big in wire, and this one bends a lot easier because there is less mass on it. Well, this one can stay springy. So how thin, Lena? Is it like wire thin like this one? This one is where's my caliper? Is it as thin as this one? This one is about 1 centimeter or 10 millimeters. Is this the width that you're going for? Like for anything like this wide, up to probably like half an inch, I would not go less than 20 for like 10 millimeter to 15 millimeter width. I would not go less than 20. And actually I have, like, my favorite would be 14 gauge if you use copper, because copper is a softer metal than sterling silver. Because sterling silver is an alloy, and any alloy is usually stiffer than pure metal like copper or fine silver. Like, they both can be work hardened, but just not as much as the alloy like sterling silver. Yeah, for something like this, the ruffle one, I would not go any less than 20 gauge. Reason being, like, you don't want your bracelet to be too bendy. You want it to like stay put, because you know, like, you don't know, you as the designer, you know how to treat your jewelry, but the customer may not. So you want to prevent any mishap happen when it's already in the customer's hand. Because I know, like, in the jewelry groups, like, some people share that, oh, like, the bracelet that they sold is just broke into in the customer's hand. Like, so I don't know, like, I personally have seen people in the craft, in the art shows that I've done, they are just like really rough with cuffs. Like, when they try on, they will just and then they were like, what? It's like, no, my jewelry, no, don't do that. It's kind of like but that's just the customer. So you can't really expect people to know how to treat their jewelry unless you educate them. Like you tell them this is how you open it, this is how you close it, and try not to open and close it all the time, or like the metal can eventually over harden and get brittle on the and then it broke into. So if you're making a bangle like this one, this one is made of 12 gauge. Focus. This one is made of 12 gauge, and I still add some embellishment on it. Like I still wrap something, some design on all around it. And this can add to, first of all, it adds some design point, like uniqueness to it, and it also helps with the structure. If it's just like a bangle, close bangle like this, you can use 12 gauge for a close bangle like this. It doesn't really, it holds up pretty well. See, I put some pressure and it's still doing really well. But if it's an open bangle, like this one, since it's not connected on the ends, it bends a little easier because there's no, no tension, that the same tension as the closed bangle has. I don't know what's the mathematical term is, or the physics term, because I'm not a physician. Is that what you call it? I'm not an engineer, so my terms might be a little weird. The one that's 14 gauge is this one. This one is 14 gauge. I actually bought a strip of copper like this. It came in coils, but unfortunately I don't remember where did I buy this from. Like it was years ago, and good luck finding the receipt for it. Like I tried to search my email for copper strips, 14 gauge, nothing came up, so I really had no idea where did I get this. Otherwise I would have linked it. But I did find some people on Etsy sell this 14 gauge copper strip, but not as a but they sell it like for like a certain length, so you have to buy, I don't know how many feet in this, probably like 5 or 6 feet maybe. That's what I'm guessing. But I really like this weight. Like the 14 gauge is really strong for a bangle. But it also, because it's really thick, like I don't know if you can see it here, you have to kind of grind both sides because it's really sharp. So that's it takes quite a while if you don't have like a grinder. I use my flex shaft, so it could take a little while to grind all of this, like kind of like rounded the edges, so it can be worn comfortably. but I really like this. Anita said, you have to explain. It's like a wire coat hanger. Everyone has probably tried that. Yeah, I can see that. Yep. Yeah, Lena, you can search on Etsy for 14 gauge copper strip. I found it, but you know, it's not. Can't come in coil like that. But maybe if you buy like a lot at the same time, so maybe it will come as a coil. So Anita says the smallest I will use for open cuff is 10 gauge. Yeah, I think it's all down to personal preferences. I personally haven't worked with 10 gauge, but I do have 10 gauge, what is this, square wire, which I plan to make more cuffs with. Like this one I can see being an open cuff and still okay because it's really thick. 10 gauge is about 2.5 millimeters. So for this one I can see it being an open cuff and it's still okay. Like it really depends on your treatment too. So like this one is I think 16 gauge. This is a 16 gauge because any thicker the beads just wouldn't come in. Let me make sure that it is. It's 1.2 millimeters. So that is, yep, 16 gauge. So for just a closed bangle, you can go down to as low as 16 gauge. But this wouldn't hold up at all as an open bangle. And I just never like sell this to a customer like this. This is just something that I will wear myself. It's kind of fun with all the colors. But you know, like I think it would be okay. I'm just like a paranoid like that. I don't want people to come back and like, oh, my bracelet is all misshapen, you know, blah blah blah. So I want to make sure that everything that I made and send to the customer will be tough and not easily bent or getting misshapen. Now for this one is my moon crater cuff. You can find the tutorial in my YouTube channel, how to make bracelet out of copper pipe tubing, something like that title is. And it is made of tubing that I open. So this is, you can see the inside instead of like the smooth one like the one shown in the tutorial. This started as the copper pipe, but then I open it with a cut-off disc. It is quite a challenge to cut it with a cut-off disc. I don't know if you can see it. Let me turn on my light. I don't know if you can see it, but there's like some kind of a score line on the inside. Might be able to see a little bit of it. There you go. So it is quite a challenge to get it smooth, but you know, it is handmade and it is what it is. If you don't like how it shows the score line on the inside, you can line it with some leather or pleather, whatever you want. And this one is made of I think the 1/2 inch or maybe the 3/4 pipe. I think this is a 1/2 inch pipe, and it is about 20 gauge before you texture it. So this is really tough, and especially because it's already the racing and like the chasing and repousse texture to it adds to the stiffness. So once again, it depends on your treatment of the sheet or wire. Like some can go thinner, some have to be thicker. Anything plainer needs to be thicker, and everything that is textured, bent, or fold in a way can be a little thinner. So for fold forming, you can actually go as low as 26 if you want, like the Sherman fold, the fold by Eva Sherman, if you're familiar with her. That is made from 26 gauge, and because the multiple folds, the tight folds, eventually it gets really hard, and you can get away with by using 20 gauge for a cuff. And if you're uncertain, like in any way, you need to test it before you sell it. So if you feel like it moves too much, then you can add some kind of a backing, like rivet it to another sheet or wire, just to add some structure to it. Like I have this one. This one is also my moon crater, but it's made from smaller tubing that I also opened up just to have a nice border to it. But I feel like it's too thin. So I'm planning on adding leather for backing, so it can have like some kind of an accent. I just haven't done it yet. I think I'm gonna rivet it. So I think it would look like super nice and look more elegant this way than just the copper. What do you think? So I think it's just looks a lot better with the leather. That's my opinion anyway. Shirley said leather backing is a great idea. It would be more comfortable and not turn the skin green. Yeah, that's true. And some people doesn't like wearing copper because it turns their skin green. But yeah, with the leather backing, it would certainly help with that problem. Only I will need to find a way to rivet it and make it stay, because I've never done this before. If I've done it, this would be the first time ever that I do a leather backing. So I want to say that I am like everything that I shared here is from my years of experimenting and experience that I have experienced. So I'm not saying that my method would be the best way. It's just that it worked for me. So I welcome any opposition, or if you think you have a better way of dealing with some stuff that I mentioned here, feel free to say it on the chat. I will read it and see if we can, say them. Anita say repose. Okay, I guess I said it wrong because I have never really learned about that. So repose, I guess. Thank you, Anita, for correcting me. I'm not knowledgeable in what is it? Is it French? I cannot speak French. I only speak English and Indonesian and a little bit of, the local dialect. I was gonna say, I'm gonna share some tips and tricks. Like, does copper work the same way as sterling silver? The answer is they work similarly, only copper is a little bit softer after the work hardened. And work hardened, for you who doesn't know it, it's like when you stress the metal by hammering it, you work harden it, essentially make it harder than its natural state. Like the temper of it, that's what it is. So I think most wire, even though it says dead soft, it's not dead soft. If you anneal them, it's still going to be softer because I think when they extrude it also work harden the metal a little bit. And to anneal it, you have to use open fire. I think you can anneal it in the oven too, like a kiln. Not the food oven, but pottery oven, the kiln. But I've never tried it, so I've only been working with open fire. And for smaller wire, like 12 gauge and below, or should I say above, because the numbers goes up. Anyway, for 12 gauge and thinner, you can just use the butane torch. Like I have shown yesterday, you can ball up to 10 gauge wire with a butane torch. But anything thicker than 12 gauge, you're probably more comfortable using a bigger torch, like the Easy Torch. It's a propane. This is my Easy Torch. It's a propane torch. It's all black from the smudges, I suppose, because I never clean it. I'm lazy. But this torch, you can buy them at Auto Fry. I think that's how you say it, Auto Fry. And it's a pretty cheap torch for $120, around that area. And it came with 3 different tips, like from small, medium, and large. And why would you want to use a propane torch? I read that this butane torch can go up to 2500 Fahrenheit, while this propane torch only go up to 2400 degree Fahrenheit. So it's actually not as hot as this one, but this one, the flame is so small. If you need to heat a large mass, you wouldn't be able to do it, while this Easy Torch, or in the UK it's called the Orca Torch, it has like a really big fire. It can be a little scary when you switch from butane to this torch. So I recommend you start with the smallest tip first. This one is the medium because my small tip is kind of dead and I need to replace it. But this torch can give you like a pushy fire, while this butane torch doesn't have a fire control to it. It just gives you like the pointy tip flame, which is not good for everything. So this is the next step. But I've never used the acetylene torch, like the Little Smith. Is that what they call it? The Little Smith torch? I think that's the name. Yeah, the Little Smith torch. Like that one used 2 fuels, and I didn't buy that one because my thought was like, man, that probably would be too complicated for me. So that's why I just bought this one, which is just propane. But the upside of that Little Smith torch, you can do the dumbbell rivet, which essentially like you have like the ball wire on both sides, and that's only Little Smith torch can do. This torch cannot, because you need like really hot concentrated fire to make that dumbbell rivets. So that's the downside of this torch. Is big, but it cannot create that dumbbell. I think I want that Little Smith torch somewhere in the future because I really love the look of the dumbbell rivets. Lena said, I took some 6-gauge wire and ran it through the mill to get a strip. Yeah, that works too. If you have a rolling mill, you definitely can make your own sheet out of wire. I have a mill which is a little underused. I bought it. I bought an antique mill, and I'm ashamed that I haven't really used it that much because you know, I like to collect tools. I think we all do. I'm a little ashamed to admit that. Hi, Janet. Oh, not Janet. Jackie, sorry. A little senior moment. So, ask me any questions if you have more. Oh yeah, I'm gonna say like so far I only show you the single wire creations, but you can use smaller wire like 18, even 20 gauge if you make like the wire design like wire wrapped, or I had a design but it's all sold out, so I can't really show it here, but essentially it's just like a bunch of curled wire, and you know, they're kind of crisscrossing each other. And for that one you can use like 18 gauge, no problem, because you weave the wire together, it makes a more solid mass than just one single wire like this one. So yeah, that's my answer once again. Like what gauge of wire you need to use, it all depends on the design. There is no one size fits all. Lena say, I collect tools too. Yay, I'm not alone. What else do you think I should cover? Ask me anything. Should I show you annealing wire? For you who don't know, annealing is it's the opposite way of annealing steel. Annealing non-ferrous metal means to make it softer, while in steel work it's actually the opposite for some reason. So I don't know why they're called the same. It's weird. Melissa and Mango ask, have you been to the Tucson gem show before? No, I haven't yet. It's quite far from where I am. I'm in Quincy, Illinois, and I figure it would take just a few thousands just to get there and to stay on the hotel or motel. So I haven't really gone to the Tucson gem show, but I've been to the Bead and Button show in Milwaukee and Wisconsin, Milwaukee, and that one was pretty huge too. And I spent a lot of money on it, and I was really overwhelmed. And I don't plan to visit that very often because I figured that I actually spend money on things that I don't really need because, oh, pretty, you know. You get like, oh, or glittery eyes, and like, I gotta have it. I don't know what to make of it, but I gotta have it. And, you know, I came home with a $300 amethyst rock like this big. It was just like, you know, just as a, not really usable for jewelry. It's just something that is on my display case. So yeah, that's the gem show for me. So I don't really want to spend another $500 on something that is just, you know, sitting there doing nothing. And I am not on that stage of life yet where I can just spend a few $100s on things that is just sitting pretty. So I need to be more utilitarian, I guess. I need to make sure that I purchase something that I can turn into profit, not just, oh, pretty. Surely better to stay home and buy another tool. Yes, I agree. Okay. At least at home you can, you know, oftentimes in Rio Grande or other websites, I add like a lot of things to my cart and then like carefully, it's like, I don't need this, uncheck. Well, you know, when you're at a gem show, you're like, it's like they put you on the spot. You get it now or you're lost. Like, I mean, like, seriously, you get lost. It's so big, I got lost. Like, I was like, oh, I saw something pretty on that. I don't know how to get there anymore. It's like so make sure you have like a map or something and just mark it on the map if you like a booth, because like, I can guarantee you if you're not good with direction like me, you'll get lost. Like, I'm good in the direction, like if I visited often, like the malls in Indonesia. The malls in Indonesia are like huge, like 6-7 stories tall. And I know every bit of it because it's a mall, and I was a mall rat, and I can't do that on places that I haven't been to. I am not good with direction. My husband made fun of me all the time on that, like, you're so bad at direction. Yeah. Don't ask me where west, east, or whatever when the sun is not up, because I wouldn't know. I've lived in Quincy for 7 years now, and the city is actually on a grid line, so it's super easy. Everything is either go to the north, south, west, or east. But if you ask me, like this shop, is it like where, which direction it is from my house? Is it like, I don't know, it's like somewhere. uh, Jackie asked, what do you think about soldering gold-filled stuff? I haven't really soldered gold-filled, but I heard that the gold can actually burn off if you overheat it because it's not that much that much gold on it. I actually bought a gold filled for an order, like a gold filled sheet for an order like a long time ago, and I ended up I couldn't use it because I couldn't anneal it because I'm afraid like the gold would just burn out and then it would just brass. So it's still sitting there in my uh, case right here. I've never used it, but I heard if you need to solder gold field, you need to go in and out fast. And I am not that skilled in soldering yet, I would say. So I probably don't have the right kind of torch. I think you probably need something with the oxygen, like the little Smith torch that can have like a concentrated little uh, flame on it to solder gold filled. But don't take it from me because I haven't done it yet. I don't deal with gold filled or silver filled. I do only like solid metal like copper, argentium silver, and red press. Any questions? Any questions? Let me see if I missed anything. Hi, Al. I think I've seen everyone. Well, ask me anything. If you have any more questions, I will gladly answer it for you. Thinking what other stuff that I can share while I'm online. Shirley asked, do you do much fusing on copper? I don't think you can fuse copper. You can ball it, but I don't think you can fuse it because I don't know, copper is just not fusible. You I think some people successfully fusing sterling silver, but I've personally only been working with argentium silver, which is fusible. And besides argentium silver, the other thing that you can fuse is either gold or fine silver. I don't think you can fuse copper, and I think it would get like deformed or something. It would, if it can fuse, it will not be smooth because copper is full of pits. So like the balls on copper is not smooth if you can see it. Like I'll try to have it right. You can see there are like it has pits on it. So yeah, you can melt it definitely, but it wouldn't be smooth. This is a bigger one. Well, on argentium, like argentium and fine silver, they produce like really smooth balls. This lighting gonna kill my eyes. So therefore you can fuse it, but yeah, that's about it, I think. Shirley said it's totally fusible. I fused wire as thin as 20 gauge. Do you get smooth result, Shirley? I'm curious because I've personally never fuse copper. Never really tried it because just the balls is just full of pits. I don't know. I guess I never really tried, but I've tried like fusing argentium to copper, and that can be done because argentium would fuse to any metal. So I've done that, but I've never personally fused copper to copper. Shirley say yes, smooth. Takes a very light touch. Well, I guess I should try it, but I'm not sure if my torch would do it because, like I said, what kind of torch do you have, Shirley? What is an oxypropane torch? Is it like a hokey, or is it the Little Smith? I guess I could try and see if I could like fuse copper with my propane torch, but I'm not sure if it's hot enough for that. Okay, Shirley has Mako Midget, which is similar to a Smith Little torch. Jackie asked, what do you guys mean by fuse? Dumb question, I know, but I'm not sure what this means. Fusing means joining the metal without solder. So you just, I hope that explain it. So like, sometimes, like a lot of times when you join two pieces together, you need a solder to make that happen. But if the metal is fusible, you just need to heat it until it almost to the melting stage, and it will fuse together without the need of solder. Eve say you really should go to the Tucson show. The best prices and selections are there. It is better than the Beat and Button. They have great classes as well. I would really love to come to the Tucson gym show, but like I said, it would like take me like a few grand just to get there. So unless I sometimes move closer to Tucson, then maybe. Because I would love to see it at least once, because I know like a lot of my metalsmithing friends are going to the Tucson for teaching and whatnot. So it would be cool to meet them in the Tucson. I dreamed that someday there would be a metal retreat in Illinois, because there is none in the Midwest. There's like always like so far away from me, like all those metal retreats, like people having fun for a week, like trying all the tools together. I think that would be really awesome, but I've never been able to come to the retreats because it always like would take me a couple of grand just to go there, and for the lodging and food and everything. I feel like, man, if I had more sales, maybe. Because I live in the middle of nowhere, like Quincy. I don't know why. I don't know why there's not a metal retreat yet in Illinois. Anyone in Illinois? Maybe like we should like form something like a guild. The Guild of Illinois Metalsmiths or something like that. Maybe then like we can all have fun and have like all our tools and Just make and make for a week. I think that would be fun. Let's see if I have anything else. And Shirley said, and then we can form an Oregon metalsmith group. Man, I would love to move somewhere around Oregon. Like, I actually have my eyes on Olympia, Washington. But the cost of the house is a lot more than Quincy. So I will need to, have some funds before I move to Olympia. Because we have a friend there, so it would be fun to, have actual friend to hang out with. And then I can probably come to the Oregon Metalsmith group. Eves asks, are you further away than I am in Ohio? I don't know. I mean, I'm not that good in maps. We'll have to check where in Ohio are you, Eve? I will have to check Google Maps, see if it's how far is Illinois to Ohio. Because Quincy is 5 hours away from Chicago, which is like the capital of Illinois, I think. Is it not? Wait, maybe that's Springfield. Well, Chicago is the big city in Illinois, and that is 5 hours away from me. By driving or by train, that's the same distance. My Google Maps not really loading, so I don't know. Near Cleveland, man, like I'm really not sure until like this Google Maps can tell me like how far away that is. Okay, fine. I think because I'm streaming, like my internet's like working really slow right now. Cleveland. It's 9.5 hours from Quincy, Illinois to Cleveland, Ohio. Yeah, so that is quite far away. So I guess we pass like Illinois and then Indiana and then Ohio. So yeah, that's a long way from Quincy. Oh, Chicago is 5 hours away from you. So I suppose we're on the opposite side, and so like it's 5 hours away from me and then another 5 hours to you. So Chicago is in the middle of our location. Tucson is Tucson. Tucson is 22 hours, 22 minutes from my place. So that's a lot further away. See, I don't have a driver's license, so I definitely wouldn't drive to Tucson. If I go to Tucson, it would be by plane. Wow, it's like 6 hours by plane from Quincy to Tucson. America is really big. It's like, it's crazy. Is it as far as it is to California? Actually, no. California is farther away. Huh. I've flown to California and I didn't think it was that long, but maybe it was. It was like a few years ago. This one is like at least $600 for flying to Tucson, and then you add like lodging and food and blah blah blah, and then like you still need like money to buy some beads and stuff. So I think just buy, since I need like 1,500 just to go to Tucson, the savings of the cost of the beads not really worth it. I think it would be cheaper if I just buy like although it's a little more expensive, but since I don't have to spend $1,000 just to go there, it would end up cheaper for me. So that's what I thought anyway. Man, who do you agree plane tickets needs to be cheaper? Like, why is all this plane tickets so expensive? It's crazy. I would love to travel more, but well, do you have any more questions like regarding how to work with determining which wire that you need to use and all that stuff? I'm here to answer your questions. I was thinking for tomorrow, what if we solder or fuse silver to copper to make a heart? Or the other one that I'm thinking of is to wire wrap a heart. Which one? Which one should I do, like soldering or wire wrapping? I'm proposing two different topics. Shirley says soldering. Eve said, I just found a flight to Tucson for 204. Man, that's actually not bad. I was just going from the maps here that it says that Quincy to Tucson is from $608 by plane. Okay, everyone seems like Shirley says soldering, Amber says soldering, Jackie said it would be great fusing, sounds great. Okay, I guess that's it. Like, we will go on making a little heart. Let me see if I could find it. I thought I had it around here. Maybe not. Hold on. This is the one that I was thinking of. Is it too bright? This one is brass and silver, argentium silver. It's actually puffed. You can see the back. I don't know. There you go. You can see that it is puffed, but I didn't use any hydraulic press. I was only using a sandbag to make it puff because I don't have a hydraulic press. So this one is a ring. So I'm not sure if we can do this in one go. It might have to like 2 different days. Because I'm not sure how long that I made this for. So yeah, I guess that we will make this tomorrow. So stay tuned. We will make, come on, focus. We will make a puffed heart soldering or fusing. It also has like stamping on it. I don't know if you can see it, but it has textures on the silver part. I made this in 2013. Okay, that's decided then that this would be tomorrow's topic, making a puffed heart. I don't know if we should make it a ring too, or just a puffed heart, but we'll see how long it takes to do that. Jackie said, wow, that would be fun. Can we do it while we're watching you? What materials would we need? You will need 24 gauge sheet, whether it's let me turn off the light. Okay, the materials are 24 gauge sheet, whether it's brass or silver or copper, or whichever you want. And then I'm thinking either 16 or 14 gauge wire for the decoration here. I need to check my book, but it's either 16 or 14. I'm thinking it's 16. And then for the ring shank is 12, I think, 12 gauge. So that's all. It's really the materials is just really easy. It's nothing much to it. I'm not sure if you can see it, but actually reticulated a little bit because I overheated while I was making it, but I think it looks super cool. But yeah, that's all that you need. 24 gauge sheet, and then either 16 or 14 gauge wire. I use Argentium, but you can use just regular sterling or copper or whatever, whatever you want. And then 12 gauge wire for the ring. But that's if you want it, or if you want to make a ring. Okay, that's all. If you don't have any more questions, then I will just go offline. Unless you have some questions, then I can answer it right now. Looks like everyone is pretty much have a unanimous poll about tomorrow's topic will be soldering. Shirley, Jackie, Leslie, Amber, all want soldering. Okay, I will remind you, just make sure you either subscribe to my YouTube channel or like my Facebook page. I will send a reminder in either one, and the YouTube will send you a reminder when I'm live, I think, if you're a subscriber. You can find my Facebook link on the description. It's just Popnicute on Facebook. I'm Popnicute everywhere. Popnicute on Facebook, Popnicute on Instagram, Popnicute on YouTube, and my website is popnicute.com. So everything is Popnicute. It's very easy. It's very short. And if you just want to search in a search bar, search Popnicute, and you will find me because nobody else named Popnicute. Okay, Jackie say you're liked and subscribed too. Thank you. So I'll see you tomorrow to make this puffed ring. Make sure you'll be there, and maybe if you want to follow along, that would be cool too. And that would be it. I'll tell you what tools you need. You need where's my pliers? The bail looping pliers, or round nose pliers, and chain nose pliers, and some kind of a mandrel to make the ring, or you can use also a half round pliers. Half round pliers would be like this. This one, if you have one, it's just one part is half, one part is straight. If you don't have this, just use any round nose pliers or bail looping pliers, and chain nose pliers or flat nose pliers, and of course some rulers and your sheets and wire. Okay, I think that's about it. And of course you need the solder and the torch, but I'm sure you have those too. So I'll see you guys tomorrow. Bye. Thank you for watching and see you. Mwah.